Hey everyone, my name is Allie and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing the makeup and books tag. I'm pretty sure that someone at some point tagged me in this and I just never got to it because I'm so bad at remembering to do tags, but I want to do more of them. So to start all of that off, I figured I would start with the makeup and books tag because it just sounded like the perfect one to start off with, especially since I need to do my makeup obviously today. So my makeup routine over the past year or so has really simplified itself. So I'm not going to be doing something for every single question, but I'll try to answer every single question because that just seems fair. But I probably won't do something for every question because I just don't use all of those products. So the first question is for primer, and primer I use CeraVe Daily Moisturizing Lotion. I don't really use primer that often because I just don't like it. I've never found a primer that I actually like, whether it's high-end or from the drugstore. So I've always liked using moisturizer for my primer. And so that's why I use this one. This one's my favorite moisturizer. It's my new favorite. I love it so much. It's perfect. So the question for primer is pick a book that had a lasting impression. And I could do that with so many different books because so many of them have made lasting impressions on me or my life or whatever. I think the one I want to go with is probably one that is, I want to try to bring up books that I don't necessarily talk about all the time in tags, and one just popped into my mind that I talk about all the time in tags, so I'm going to choose a different one. And I'm going to go with Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, and I have really loved this series so much, and I really love it especially since I kind of found it on my own and I didn't really have anyone recommending me this book per se. I kind of just, saw the cover, heard about the premise of it. I think I might have read the premise of it and I just was like, this sounds amazing, sounds totally up my alley, and I ended up really loving it. And I really love that about that book, and I feel like especially the second book, which is my favorite out of the series, has really stuck with me. And not really in any way that I could actually relate to the book in any sort of my identities, but it was just a book that really kind of encapsulated so many things that I love about literature and so many things that I love about the genres that that book is in, and it was just perfect. It was it had everything that I love. It had mystery, it had true crime elements, it had historical elements, and it was just I love Audrey Rose so much. She's one of my all-time favorite female characters and just characters in general, and I love Thomas Cresswell and I love everything that they get into. It's just so interesting. And I love that with each book, the stakes kind of get higher and the mysteries get more convoluted and complex. And yeah, I feel like that whole series has just really kind of carved out a very special place in my heart. The next question is for foundation, and the foundation I use I actually just found recently at Walmart, and I've been looking for a new foundation, something that's not super cakey or super mattifying or anything like that. And I found this brand called Found and it's a nourishing liquid foundation, and I have it in the color 160 Tan, and I love this one so much. It's so good, so lightweight, just leaves a very natural finish, not anything too thick or drying or anything. It's so nice. I really love it. I also have really sensitive eyes, so I really wanted to find something that if it did get into my eyes, it wouldn't be so bad, because my eyes are super sensitive, they kind of get very irritated really fast, and it kind of happens almost every day. So I was looking for something that was hypoallergenic and just very natural, and I'm really loving this one. Also, I use a little makeup sponge from Walmart. These come in packs of 2 for $3 or $4, and they are literally the best makeup sponges ever. So yeah, love Walmart. And the question is, pick your favorite first book in a series. And oh, that's so difficult. I think I actually have an answer for that one, and that's going to be Labyrinth Lost by Zoraida Cordova. I love that first book. I actually love both books pretty equally, but I really love the first book. It has bisexual representation, Latinx representation, so that's a really exciting and important, and I really loved it. That was a book I wasn't really certain I was going to pick up, but I had the author contact me. Well, I didn't have her do that, like she just did, and she offered to give me an arc of the second book, and I was really excited when she asked me, but then I realized I hadn't read the first book yet, and it wasn't one that I was like, oh, I'm gonna read this, but when she contacted me, I was just so excited, and I was so down to read it, and I ended up really loving it, and more than I really expected to, you know, like I said. I'm not a huge fan of urban fantasies, so I was really nervous about trying out this book and possibly not enjoying it, especially when I have the author send me the arc of the second book. I was super nervous, but I ended up really loving it and falling in love, and I read it so fast, and I loved it. It was amazing, and I never really thought I was going to really fall in love with an urban fantasy, but then I did, and it was just wonderful. Okay, so the next question is for concealer, and I use the Maybelline Age Rewind concealer. I don't use this every day. I'm just going to use it for the video. But this is my favorite concealer, and I've been using this for years and years and years, ever since Megan Ranks talked about it, like, I want to say like 5 years ago or something like that, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. She first talked about this concealer, and I was like, ooh, that looks interesting, and I tried it and I really loved it. So thanks to Megan. I feel like everything that I have, like that's like makeup wise or just really basically anything, is because of Megan. So we can all thank Megan for me knowing how to do anything. And the question is, pick a character that you would want to get rid of. And that's super easy. We're gonna talk about my boy Mal. I hate him. He's annoying and he's just the worst. So yeah, I would love to get rid of him. He is just super annoying and boring and low-key problematic in certain ways. Like, there are some scenes that I have quite a big issue with concerning him, especially in Siege and Storm, where he does some like low-key cheating, and I'm just like not about that, and no one calls him out, and no one, like, they're all just kind of like, well, if you would spend more time with him, then he wouldn't feel the need to go kiss other girls. And I'm just like, what? Like, on what planet does Alina need to give him more attention for him to be like trustworthy? And, you know, like, no, I refuse. And I'm like, I literally, and that's why I'm like, I can't respect him as a character. Like, people are always like, people make him out to be worse than he actually is, and I'm like, he literally like cheated on her in book 2. Like, he was literally kissing other girls when they were definitely in like some sort of relationship with each other, and it was never agreed upon to like have it be open or anything. So I'm just like, on what planet? And also, he's just like really like emotionally manipulative and kind of like, you know, he is a little threatened by her power and doesn't want her, and like, I think that he has some valid points about that, because I think that he doesn't want her to be like evil, which is fine, but also it just seems like he doesn't trust her, which is like a problem. Not problematic, but a problem. So yeah, I just don't like Mal. I could literally go on for days about how much I don't like him and how Alina deserves better. She's amazing. I really love Alina. I've never had anything like truly negative to say about her. So yeah, I think she deserves better. The next question is powder, and I don't actually use powder on my face like first thing. I will use it, you know, later on in the day, but I don't do it like the first thing. Like, I don't even use it like in the morning. I just use it throughout the day. So can't really use it right now, but I will answer the question. This is a very interesting question, is pick your favorite last book in a series. And that is so difficult, because I would say Crooked Kingdom, but I'm pretty sure that at some point we are going to get a third book in the series, so that doesn't seem like the correct answer anymore. But I mean, like, Crooked Kingdom is my favorite book out of that duology. So I'm going to have to go with The Crown's Fate from The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. The Crown's Fate is the second book, and I love that one so much. It's my favorite one out of that duology, and it was just the perfect way to end it, and so many things, so much drama goes down in that book, and I loved it. It was amazing. If you haven't read that duology, please read it. If you like The Night Circus, you're really gonna love The Crown's Game. It's like a YA version of The Night Circus set in Russia with like fantasy elements. The next question is for eyebrows, and I use the NYX micro brow pencil. I had to like look to see what it was called, and the letters are so tiny. So I use this in the color Espresso, and I love it. It's one of my favorite brow products. I kind of go back and forth using different versions of like basically this, but I tend to like the NYX one the most. I do like the Ulta brand specifically more, but they never have my color. Whenever I go to Ulta, they never have my brow color. So I just go with the NYX one because it's like the next best thing. So the question for eyebrows is a book that you think everyone should read. And for that, I'm going to go with Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. I love that book so much. It is literally amazing. I can't believe that more people haven't read that book. It's so beautiful. It's set in LA, and it follows this girl who wants to be a movie set designer, and she is still in high school because it's a YA, but it's just so beautiful, and like, oh, I love it. I took a screenwriting class last semester, I want to say, and I actually used like parts of that book. In that book, there are screenwriting, like there are parts of a screenplay, and I used what I knew from that book kind of to like help inspire me while taking that course. Like it was kind of nice because I had sort of like an example of what screenwriting looks like or sounds like or whatever, and it actually really helped. I was really surprised, and I love it. It's so magical and beautiful, and like there are, like I said, parts of a screenplay interwoven within the narrative, and so the screenplay is really, really beautiful as well. It's like basically the main character is working on this movie, like this small movie, and she is just, oh my god, I love it. I love the way that she describes the sets and how she designs the sets and really walks the reader through it without being really boring. And for a second I was kind of like, oh, I really want to be a set designer now because it sounds so like so much fun. And she goes to so many like flea markets and stuff like that, and it's so cool. Like I love the idea of that job. It just sounds so fun. Also, Everything Leads to You is female and absolutely fantastic, and just like the most beautifully written book of all time. So the next question is for eyeshadow, and I don't really do anything super crazy with eyeshadow anymore. I try to keep it pretty low-key, but my favorite palette right now is this Makeup Revolution palette. It is the Reloaded Iconic Fever palette, and it's very like warm colors, lots of oranges and reds and stuff, which work really well with my skin tone. And I just tend to use this top color mostly every day, this one right here, because it's pretty close to my skin tone, and it just kind of gives a little bit of dimension to my eyes and not too much to where it's like, ooh, she put a lot of effort in. I want it to be very effortless looking, so that's like my whole eyeshadow thing. And the question that goes along with this is name a book, I want to say, oh, pick a book that has your favorite colors on the cover. And I think for that one I'm going to choose Daisy Jones and the Six because I love the spine. You can see the spine right here, but I'll try to like add the cover like somewhere right here, and I'll just scooch over. But yeah, like I don't really do anything super like impressive with my eyeshadow. I just put some on there so my eyelids don't look super greasy throughout the day. It just kind of helps to cut down on it a little bit. And And that's about it. But yeah, I love the cover of Daisy Jones. It's so beautiful. It's just, I love it. And I want to just carry it around. Even though I finished it, I just want to carry it around because it's so beautiful. The next question is for eyeliner, and I don't use eyeliner, so won't be doing that today, but I will answer the question, and that is pick a dark and mysterious book. And I'm going to go with The Wicked Deep by Shea Ernshaw. So this book was one of my favorites of last year, and it was absolutely wonderful, beautifully dark and mysterious, and I just loved all the twists and turns in this book, and I loved all the characters and all the secrets and the mysteries, and it was just absolutely wonderful. Definitely worth the hype for me personally. I know that it has gotten some mixed reviews from people, but I really, really loved it. I went into this book super hesitant, thinking I wasn't going to like it, and it really surprised me. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. So the next question is for mascara, and I use two different mascaras. I kind of rotate. I have quite a few mascaras, mostly because I love it. I have like a Chanel one, I have one from IT Cosmetics, I have a few different other random mascaras that I've just, you know, picked up along the way. But right now, currently, I've been using this Double Decker lashes from Butter London. I got this on sale for $12 at Ulta, so that was pretty cool. And it's like full-sized and awesome, and Butter London can get really expensive, so that was really fun to find. And then I'm also using this extra long lash by Rimmel, and I got this at Marshall's, and I just kind of wanted it so I could separate my lashes. I really liked the look of the brush, so yeah, I used this one first, and then I used the Rimmel one. So the question for this one is pick a long book, and I haven't really read any super long books recently. I try to stay away from really, really long books, but I do have one that's on my TBR, and that is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, and that is a pretty long book. I am actually really nervous to start it because I'm just like, I haven't read a long book in a very long time. I literally can't remember the last time that I actually read something like super long. It's been a, like, you know, not to say it, but it's been a long time. So, can't really think of anything off the top of my head except for Lady Midnight, which I am going to read this month, hopefully, if all goes as planned. And I've been really interested in reading this series. I did finish the Infernal Devices series from her last year, at the end of last year. So I really loved that. I think I gave like literally every single book in that little series 5 stars, and I loved it. Also, I guess I could think of another one, like any of the Sarah J. Maas books I've read, like Queen of Shadows is pretty big. So is, what's that other one? The one that I don't like. Oh, Empire Storms. That one is pretty big too. So, you know, love that for me. I didn't finish Empire Storms. I'm gonna try to finish it at some point. I don't know when that'll be, but I mean, we'll see. So the next question is for blush, and I don't wear blush, but I do wear bronzer. So I actually just recently picked this up, and it is the I Heart Revolution Bronze and Glow palette from Makeup Revolution. And it just looks like this. Just like that, pretty simple. Just gonna use the bronzer side for this one. And the question that goes along with this is pick a book that has some cringe-worthy romance. And for me, I don't tend to like really notice the romance too much. Like, that's not like the super important part of any of the books that I read. I don't tend to like think about it too much. This is so out of order for me. I would have normally done this already, but and when I mean this, I mean bronzer. I tend to not do bronzer before. I mean, I tend to not do bronzer after I've done my eyebrows. So this is very interesting. But I don't know, like, I guess maybe I would say Love and Gelato had kind of a cringeworthy romance, but even then, that's kind of a stretch. I don't know, like, I don't really read a lot of like romance books, so it doesn't bother me, and I'm not the type of person to be like, oh, romance doesn't need to be in every book, and like, yeah, I kind of agree with that, but also like, who cares? Like, I don't know. I'm not a very romantic person either. Like, I don't do that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm not a super romantic person. but you can ask my all of one relationship that I've had. So I don't know, like I guess I would just go with Love and Gelato. That was a pretty cringeworthy romance. I'm going to use the same palette for highlighter, and that question is pick a book that brightened your day. And for that one, I'm going to go with Grace and the Fever. Like, that book was really something. Like, I really loved it, and I really loved the experience of getting to read that book. That was super important to me. And yeah, I think that that's definitely the book that I want to go with. I just love Grace and the Fever. It really like made me happy getting to read a book and listen to a lot of like boy band music. Like, and when I say boy band, I mean like One Direction and Jonas Brothers and of course 5 Seconds of Summer. Like, I listened to so much 5 Seconds of Summer when I was reading Grace and the Fever. It was just amazing. I love 5 Seconds of Summer. I never thought I would have said that. Like, if you would have asked me like 5 years ago, I would have been like, who? And then I would have been like, oh yeah, that one song, don't like them. But I love the album Youngblood. It is so good, and I loved getting to read Grace and the Fever. It really made me happy, and it was like going back to like fan fiction roots almost, and I just loved it. It was so much fun. Question 11 has to do with lipstick, and the question is your favorite book kiss. And that's very difficult because, like I mentioned earlier, I don't really read a lot of romance, and I don't really pay attention too much to the romance. So I tend to like... so I tend to not really notice book kisses, I guess, the way that other people do. Like, I don't really focus on it. I don't notice it that often. Like, if two characters kiss, I'm like, cool. But it doesn't stick with me as something that's like super important to their relationship. So that's kind of difficult to like think about. I do remember that in The Night Circus there were a few times, I think there was like this one time where the two main characters kissed and I was like, oh my god. But other than that, like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of any like very memorable kisses, and nothing's coming to mind really. So yeah, I think that that's just gonna be my answer because I don't know. I don't like I said, I'm not a super romantic person. I don't really notice that kind of stuff too much in books, and usually the kissing isn't really the most important part for me. It's usually like their emotional connection rather than like any of the physical stuff. So I have two that I'm gonna try to choose between. I don't know if I want to do like a sort of like semi-matte color or if I want to do a lip gloss. So this is my favorite lip gloss. It's the Butter Gloss from NYX in the color Ginger Snap, and it's beautiful and perfect. And then this is the NYX Slip Tease in the color Beyond Basic, which I really like. It's a very super, like, it's basically a nude lip almost for me, or just a very natural lip. And I'm just not sure. Okay, I think we're gonna go with the gloss. I think that's what we're gonna do. So I really wish that I was more into the book kisses and book relationships and shipping and stuff like that, but I'm just not. You know, I think it's maybe because I'm a lot older than the characters that are in the books I'm reading, so it just feels super weird to kind of like, you know, care about the kissing so much. I don't know. I'm just, you know, whatever. Okay, so that is my entire makeup look, and my hair is kind of gross. It's just like third day hair, so it's like just hanging there. And yeah, so that was the entire video, and you guys got to see the process of me putting my makeup on. I've been filming for 30 minutes, so that's fun. That's gonna be fun to edit, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. I am going to try to tag some people down below, so make sure you go check there to see if your name is there, but even if it's not, feel free to say that I tagged you and do this video because I really want to see that, and also send me the link so I can actually watch it. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like I said, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!